my name's Carolyn Oates. I've been a Red artist now for, how many years has it been? 3 years, I think, 3 or 4 years. And yeah, I was lucky enough to be introduced to these cymbals fairly early on in their infancy. And I've been, playing drums again, I'll say, or focusing in on drums again a lot more in the last 5 years. I have a background of being a multi-instrumentalist. My original instrument is a classical pianist. Moved to guitar in my teens and picked up drums in my late teens, and then just moved between various instruments across the years. I've been lucky enough to earn a living as a musician, either performing for my own solo singer-songwriter work or playing guitar in bands, playing drums in bands, and also, lucky enough to live and work overseas as part of that experience. And at the moment, my focus is back on drums. Really enjoying playing drums again after a bit of a break, and currently playing in a blues trio with an artist called Anna Shanti. Also pretty lucky that the trio is made up of bass player, my partner David Carr, which is a pretty cool experience to be able to go out touring and gigging with the person that you love spending time with, and I get to do that on stage as well, and we get to have some pretty amazing experiences together. So really enjoying just getting back into drumming, focusing more on the things that I know I need to focus on this time around. I think having had my classical piano background, I've understood working on technical aspects of your playing is always important. So do your rudiments, kids. That's, I think, one of the most important parts of the gradual improvement. And that's the other part that I think I have a good understanding of, is that nothing's going to improve quickly. And if you don't practice and you don't spend time, then the improvement just doesn't happen. So yeah, it's been really good to get back into drumming again in these last 5 years and really focus in on a lot of the aspects that I can improve on in my technique. Being part of the blues kind of scene too has also really kicked in a new learning experience of learning how to swing, something that I hadn't really done much of in my drumming before this period of time, and just understanding and learning elements of swing and how much that influenced too some of the greats in the 60s and the 70s, that a lot of these players that were in the burgeoning rock scene in the 60s and the 70s came from blues and were inspired by blues with the swing and the shuffle and those kinds of things, and how that really impacted their just this innate awesome grooves that they could pull out. So yeah, I've still got a lot to learn, and I'm loving every minute of the learning experience, and loving every minute of gigging and playing festivals and hitting a drum kit again. Some of the earliest influences or the drumming that I really liked was on some of the early Sheryl Crow and Sam Phillips albums, which were, various players, but just a really solid, rock groove, the occasional drum fill, but really just focusing on what the song needs. And that's kind of been my ethic all the way through. I'm not someone who spends lots of time working on drum fills. I want to spend time actually learning how to constantly improve a basic beat or a basic groove. So I just feel like that's the most important part of the song. It's the backbone. It's the part that I enjoy the most. Maybe that's just because of my background in the playing guitar and rhythm guitar, and just knowing that the rhythm is the really most important part of creating and generating the movement and the groove and the ongoing momentum in a song. And just also, understanding how that plays out with light and shade too, and that knowing that the most impressive way to create light and shade is to just play less, and then bring it back to something. And creating a crescendo doesn't necessarily mean playing more, it probably just means playing something different. So opening the hats, or playing the ride with more of a crash kind of a vibe, or maybe even playing the crash but not playing it too hard. But just kind of focusing in on keeping the groove, keeping a constant beat, and when it comes to light and shade, the light and shade really includes just playing less and then coming back to what you had, and maybe only little bits of more, not lots of more. That's probably part of it too. As a multi-instrumentalist, I can hear what other people are doing in the song and understand why they're doing it, and that probably helps me have a bit more restraint perhaps too, because I can go, okay, well, I can hear that the guitarist's doing something right now, so that's not my turn to now play some tom fill or some fancy extra thing on the ride. The focus should be maintained on what the guitarist is doing right now, and not on anything extra that I would like to play, but I can save that for later. Key pieces of advice would be practice, 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 practice more, and keep practicing. Plus rudiments, technical skills, improving your technical skills. When I say that, I don't mean you have to be able to do triple strokes and quad strokes in every piece of music that you play. It's more that the discipline of learning technical things will reap benefits when you actually get to the point of playing. And I think that's maybe an element that's misunderstood by a lot of people. I think sometimes people approach the technical as it's a way that you can play faster things or more things in a song, whereas I think it's more about understanding that when you practice your rudiments and you practice them to a click, you're learning to play in time. You're learning to keep a constant beat, and you're learning to work within a framework. And I think that's important too, that the players who get hired are the people who restrict themselves to a framework. And they limit what they do, because that's an important part of being part of a greater whole, and the greater whole is the whole band. And it's not your job to do all these amazing fills. The job is to set the groove, work with the rest of the band to create something important that carries the song. So that's some advice. I think the other thing I'd also say is just don't let anyone stop you. If that's what you want to do, just take on board the criticisms. That once you've walked away from the situation and maybe gone, okay, yeah, maybe they were right, because sometimes it's hard to hear criticism, and sometimes you need some time to think about it. But if you can, take on board the criticism that you, on reflection, go, yeah, actually they were right, and ignore the stuff that you don't agree with, and just don't be mean, don't be an idiot. Those are kinds of things that help you become a calm, professional person. and yeah, be someone that people enjoy working with. A particular highlight's not coming to mind, but what I can say is the gigs that I really love playing the most are, say, your festival shows, where you can really just go all out. Like, as much as it's great to play small venues, sometimes just just constantly playing really small venues and having to be aware of how loud you're playing, and then having that difference of environment of playing a festival and playing a really big stage. At this point in time, I'm absolutely loving that kind of experience of enjoying the difference and appreciating the difference that you can, lay into the kit a bit more, have some fun. And having said that, don't lay into the kit too much, because that whole aspect of maybe smashing the cymbals a little harder than you should doesn't actually help bring vibe. It just helps create a bit of a whoa. So it's that finding that balance too. Like, you can increase your volume, you can do some different things in that festival setting, but you've also got to just take into account that, absolutely smashing everything is probably not what you want to do, but just that increase in volume, that enjoying the vibe, being able to look out and see, a really big crowd that's enjoying what you're doing. That's, it's a very different aspect, and I'm loving that at the moment, Being a female drummer, some people might be going or wondering, what's it like for you as a woman in the industry and stuff. And I guess what I'd say is I've been in the industry for a long time, and my experience has never been anything but positive from everyone that I've encountered. Like I mentioned earlier, even if you do encounter someone who's a bit of a strange cat, I'd say you just don't let that stuff stop you. If you've set your sights on something, just be prepared that sometimes there's going to be obstacles and they might not be the things that you expect. But I think hard work and focus and not letting anyone tell you that you should stop makes a big difference in how you continue on, how you try and make a career out of working in the music industry or working in music. If you love it and you really want to do it and you want to find a way to achieve that goal, the only way to do it is to just keep trying and see where it takes you. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you found some valuable information in there, and keep practicing your rudiments, kids.